Hey everyone, welcome to BACKtalk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, featuring in-depth conversations and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked one of the top 4 Black family podcasts on FeedSpot, and we're now number 1 on Million Podcasts as well. And I'm your host, Janice Robinson-Celeste. And now, Successful Black Parenting Magazine has an interactive community of parents called the Black Parenting Academy, where you can converse and post questions, comments, wins, and concerns in a safe space. And I'll be sharing that link with you later during the show, so watch for it. If your child splits their time between homes after a breakup, a divorce, or separation, this episode is for you. If your child could rewrite one rule between each home this week, what would they change? And would you let them? Today, we're putting kids first with author Kylar Denae. So you will leave with scripts, routines, real fixes that you can use by bedtime tonight. So stay tuned.
This is BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, and thank you again for tuning in, guys. We are your go-to podcast talk show for parents. We are live, and that means you can post your questions in the comment sections of our Facebook or our YouTube pages, and I will address your questions live on air. Don't forget to share our podcast with your friends. Shout out to your followers because sharing is truly caring. And don't forget to use hashtag BACKtalk when you post. Today in the studio, I have Kylar Denae. She is an author of Two Homes, One Heart, a guide to co-parenting from a child's perspective. She was raised in a successful co-parenting family and trained in human development and family sciences. Kylar helps parents create child-first routines, communications, and stability through speaking, workshops, and practical tools that break negative cycles and build healthier families. So welcome to the show, Kylar.
Thank you, Janice, for having me today.
Sure, no problem. I gave you a very thorough introduction. Did I miss anything?
No, you did not, actually.
Well, I always like to let you introduce yourselves when you come onto the show, but I'm going to ask you an icebreaker that I always ask every guest, and it is, what's one thing that most people don't know about you that you can tell us on the show?
Okay, let me think. I think that one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is honestly, like, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's honestly not knowing that I came from not like a two-parent household. It wasn't always two parents in my household. Unless you were like close to me and you've been to my house and you'd be like, a lot of my friends would be like, "What do you mean you're going to your dad's house? I thought they were married." And I'd be like, "No, I go with him during the week and I go with my mom on the weekends." That was something a lot of people didn't know as well, is that usually it's very common for mothers to have their child during the week and their father to have their child during the weekends, but it was switched around for me.
Oh, wow. Okay, so is this your dad right here?
It is.
Welcome to the
My
show,
number
Kevin.
one supporter.
I saw the comment. It says, my baby girl. That's a dad for you. Proud dad, girl dad.
Yes.
That is awesome. All right, let's jump right into the show. So, from a child, well, let me ask you a question. Can we ask how old you are now?
I am 23 years old.
23 years old. Okay, so and we were in a co-parenting household for how long?
Really, all of my life,
All your life. Okay.
until I went to college, honestly.
Oh
So I
wow.
want to
Okay.
say around like 18 years old is when I went to college and then, you know, started doing life on my own.
Okay. So those who are just tuning in, we're looking at co-parenting from a child's point of view. Okay. That's what Kylar did. She wrote a book about it. So from a child's eye view, what's the number one behavior kids wish that parents would stop doing after separation?
I would say arguing.
Arguing.
I think that's probably one of the most common things that parents do. They forget like the child is the point. Um, and I think a lot of children sometimes have to carry their weight and they don't know how to explain to their parents, like, hey, I'm having bad days at school. And I think a lot of teachers can attest that sometimes that be their first thing is, hey, what's going on at home? Because they usually don't act like this. And it's just that the child is carrying the weight of what's going on at home because their parents can't seem to get along because there's been a separation involved and they don't know how to co-parent successfully.
Right. What should parents be doing instead? Like, I know we can say, oh, stop arguing.
Right.
That doesn't always work. So what can they do?
I highly suggest therapy for once, and not just for the parents, but also with the child as well. Learn effective communication as well. I think it's very, very important to know how to communicate not only with the other parent, but also the child. And just honestly asking your child, hey, how do you feel right now with, me and your father being separated? Because the child does have feelings and they probably never been asked. So they probably just feel like, well, I don't have a safe space to come and talk to my parents about how I feel about them being separated, or a parent might feel upset because their child wants to go be with their father, and it's like, well, why don't you want to be over here? But I just don't think parents should take it personal, as the child is supposed to grow up with two parents in their life. You know what I'm saying? They have a mom and a dad. So I think
Mhm.
it's just very fair to not always, as a parent, take it personal. And sometimes just think about the child and how they're feeling and what do they understand, what do they not understand about separation and co-parenting.
Oh, that's a good advice. Absolutely good advice. I always say to parents when they're separated to never speak poorly about the other parent. Have you run into that? And the reason I say that is because that child is half of each of those people. So, in
Mhm.
essence, you're talking about your child, whatever you're saying negative about the other parents. So, that's the biggest advice I give when parents are separating. But have you experienced that with some of the parents maybe you've dealt with while you were writing your book?
Yes, I actually have. A lot of children think that if they hear one thing about their parents, they're going to take that and they're going to run with it, and that's how they're going to feel about their parent as well. So I think it's very, very important that children not only, first of all, be careful what you say about children. I say that first. Like, just be careful what you say around them, but also be careful what you say about their other parent, because they take that and they run with it. And of course, they're gonna think, oh, well, my parent is right, so you must have did this. You did this wrong. You're a liar. You're a cheater. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about me. And that's another big thing. Like, don't put your emotions about how you feel about somebody onto your child. Like, oh, I guess your dad doesn't want to see you today. He probably doesn't care about you. He probably doesn't love you, because that child is going to start thinking that. And you remember things as a child. And so they're going to carry that along through their years until they feel like they have some closure from the other parent. But honestly, how can you really trust another parent when you begin trusting someone else? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I just really like, don't project on a child, honestly. That's the biggest
Absolutely.
thing. Don't project on a child.
That's true. One of the biggest things that I would say that is difficult to do, it seems, when your child lives in two households is consistency across routines. What can parents do to try to keep that consistency in their lives, right? So that children kind of feel secure in knowing what's going to happen next.
Yes, with consistency, a lot of routines get messed up with that way as well, because sometimes a child might have a routine at one parent's house that they don't have to do at another. And so I just think that communicating with that other parent, like, hey, let's find something that works for our child, you know? I will say for myself, my parents, they talked all day, every day. They're literally best friends. And so if anything changed, or like, hey, they call me Scooby, that's my nickname also. So
I
they'll
like
be
it.
like, hey, Scooby said she had practice today, but I didn't know about it. And sometimes my mom will be like, oh yeah, she does have practice. Can you pick her up, at a certain time? My dad be like, okay, cool. I didn't have a bedtime in my mom's house, but I had a bedtime in my dad's house. But I knew, like, at a certain time that I needed to be asleep. But it wasn't just anything that was really like enforced into me that my parents, like, it messed up my schedule as a child. So I do think with scheduling and routines that parents just need to contact or create a calendar where both of you guys are on it and list everything that a child has for that day so that way their parent can be updated and nobody feels left out.
I like that idea of a shared calendar. I mean, we can do shared notes now, docs,
Yeah.
whatever we got to do, right? So that's a concrete example of how to
Hmm.
keep that consistency. So that's great advice. Is there anything else that parents can do to try to keep their routines kind of similar? I mean, communication. You were blessed to have parents that got along. You said best friends, but what
Right.
about the ones that don't get along?
Sometimes it might work for others, but I don't know. Sometimes you might just have to have that mediator as well. Like, hey, can you let this person know somebody that's in the middle? Which I just wouldn't, want anybody to be in the middle because, but still, if you have to have somebody who's just in the middle, be like, hey, can you tell this parent that this child has practice or this child needs to be taken to school at this time? Um, I really do like the calendar idea. It's very effective, especially if parents cannot communicate. I mean, you don't have to talk through the calendar. Just put down the list, whatever is happening that day. And that's honestly what I think would be probably the best method until you guys can come together and communicate.
And I see parents who even get into heated text. Um, is there a phrase or something that they can use to lower conflict? Like one person has to be in control. So, is there
Hmm.
something that a parent can say to kind of de-escalate so that they can get to the point to help the child?
Honestly, just take your time with things. Because sometimes it can get very overwhelming if a parent feels like they're doing more than the other. I see that a lot as well. So I just like we have chat now. Honestly, we have chat GPT. If you feel like, your message might come over, overbearing or over controlling, ask chat like, please take like rephrase my message to where it doesn't sound like I'm trying to come towards them or be aggressive. I use chat because that's what we have it for. We use AI. Another thing is just read your message to yourself and see if you want to be talked.
Uh-oh, boop. It's okay. It's okay. Things happen. We're live. Okay. No problem. Wait, now I can't hear you. Did it mute? Hold on, we can't hear you. Something like you think your microphone might have muted.
Can you
There
hear
we
me
go.
now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Good. But read the message yourself and see if you want to be talked that way. And if it sounds like anything that's hurtful or anything that could be taken out of context, rewrite it, you know?
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to look at it ourselves and be like, if I was, how would you take this if somebody told me this, you know? So I also like to think of things like that way as well.
Right. And I got to tell you, I love your family support over here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It says super proud of my baby, Kyler Williams. That's mom.
Yes,
All
my
right.
bonus mom. See, you didn't even know my bonus mom. So yes,
Oh, bonus
she plays
mom.
a
Okay. All
yes.
right. Good job. All right. Awesome. And then I saw another Williams. So this
Oh
one
yes,
came
my
early.
auntie.
Auntie's
Hmm.
in. Okay. Oh, the whole family coming through. I love that. Good job, family. Now, I want to talk a little bit about because I'm kind of familiar with one family that of course I would never name, but one of the parents is a narcissist, and literally the mom has to come toward him with kid gloves and never knows when he might have a problem and de-escalate. So I love the idea of AI because you can even put into AI that you're dealing with a narcissist and how to approach, and it will adjust. Um, have you ever had an experience like that with the other person that is not even approachable, basically? And you talked about a mediator, so that's one way to manage. But what if they don't want a mediator in their life? Then what? What can we do?
That's a very good question. Sometimes it just takes reflection on yourself. I
Mhm.
know a lot of my, because I have friends who are mothers as well, and that's something they're really dealing with. Is just like, he doesn't want to talk to me. He's not opening up. Um, and sometimes I think it's very very hard because you don't know, like, I don't want my child around somebody that I cannot communicate with, because sometimes you want to check in on your child. And I've ran into that problem too, where a lot of parents try to check in on their children and the other parent is responding.
Mhm.
Um, So when that happens, I just honestly feel like sometimes you have to go to another family member within their family, like the grandma. A lot of grandmothers come through because they want to see their grandchild.
Yes.
Um, but yes, because some parents they just don't want to talk. They might even have the other parent blocked, honestly. And you just have to figure out a way to get around and hopefully just come together and realize like you're doing this for the child. And I think a lot of parents once sometimes it be a little too late, but once they realize that, oh, our relationship is affecting our child, that's when they start to want to get help and want to be around each other more to make the child happy. But don't wait until it's too late.
Okay. And you mentioned your bonus mom is here watching the show. What way or how should parents approach bringing in a bonus mom to be or a bonus dad to be in a relationship for the child who, of course, all they know is their mom or their dad.
Mhm.
How do we handle that?
I think you should start off slowly introducing before you actually bring the person to introduce to your child, slowly introduce, talk about them, be like, hey, I have a friend. Don't immediately just start putting out titles because children, you say boyfriend, children are going to think like you're already married. So
Hmm.
just be like, I have a friend. They're very sweet, things and that. Just start talking about them so that way that child gets accustomed to that name when it comes around, and then slowly graduate into bringing the person around. I think sometimes a lot of parents they just be so caught up into knowing that they found someone else that they just like try to throw it all in on a child at once, and that just be too much to handle. And I will say that my dad, like he slowly graduated me into it. And I think one of the things that I had to battle with myself was feeling like I was betraying my mom because I was liking, someone else. Like, she's not my mom, but still I kind of feel like I'm betraying my mom. When I go back home, my mom, can I even talk about this lady in front of my mom? You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
that was just something that was very important. But I think something that helped was that my mom was very open to knowing who was going to be around her child as well. And so sometimes she'll ask me a question like, oh, her name is Wendy. Like, oh, how is Wendy doing? I'll be like, good. Let me tell you what me and Wendy did. Like, I actually felt safe and comfortable coming to my mom about another lady that my dad was seeing. But I also think my mom was very comfortable and trusted, my stepmom to be like, hey, she takes very good care of my child when they're around. So, but I definitely say take it slow. Like introduce them by name first. Show a little picture so they'll be accustomed to who this person is coming into their life because that's a brand new chapter for not only you but for your child as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely. How long do you think would be a good length from the time someone starts dating to introduce their maybe new partner to their children?
I think it takes a minute because you also want to get to know the person yourself. So
Yeah.
get to know the person for yourself just to make sure you know they're trustworthy, that you can trust them yourself before you bring them around your child.
Hmm.
So I just say like give it like a few months, don't rush it because you feel like, oh, well, we get along, we do this, we do that. And also you just have to ask questions with the person that you're dating, like, hey, how do you feel about me having children? How well are you with children? Do you have children yourself? Things you just have to ask those questions because your child is a very important part of you, and you don't want anything or put your child in any type of danger that you could have prevented before moving on too fast.
Yes. And I say that because I know there are people out there, maybe even some people watching, who have to get a boyfriend, date them for 2 weeks, and next thing they know, they're bringing them around their kid. Yeah. That's not a
Yeah.
good idea. So, I had to say that. So I had to say that. But I think the key here and what I'm hearing is that the whole idea is to make sure the children or child feels safe, safe to talk to you, safe in the environment as well. So, is that right?
Yeah, most
Okay.
definitely. Always put the child first before anybody else, especially when you're separated. Always think about the child before anything else.
Right. And then we have the kids plotting against the parents when they are, not in both of them or their proximity. So they're like, Mom said, Well, dad said I can. And so how do we keep the kids straight there? I mean, I know you talk about communication, but what exact words should a parent use when a kid starts plotting mom against dad?
Yeah, I've been there. I've done that.
Been there, done that. Got the
It might have
t-shirt.
worked a few times, but it didn't work all the time.
Uh,
Um, a lot of times, it'd be like, "Oh, I don't feel well," or "I've been sick. I just want to stay home." And sometimes my dad will be a little suspicious, like, "I think you're only acting like that because you got around me," or you just know how the other parent is. And my mom, she was very laid back. She was very lenient. So if I was sick, my dad would pick up on it because he know how my mother was. Like she's probably just letting her stay home because she told her she wanted to be home. So my dad would just pick up on those things. But I just say like, just ask your child questions. Try to get down to like the core of it all because children, we can't lie for too long. We're gonna break eventually. So if you feel like you can't talk to the other parent, just ask your child questions because I mean they're human, they're understanding. If they can lie, they can understand. So yeah, that's why I just say just ask your child questions. Try to get a deeper, meaning with that. And I also think that children who try to put their parents against each other is because they know there is friction.
yeah, absolutely.
They know like, hey, I know that if I say this to this one parent, the other parent not gonna like that, so they're gonna bump heads. And a lot of children they enjoy that because they feel like they can get what they want from the other parent, but then it comes back around to, oh, my parents are always arguing. My parents can never talk to each other. So just talk to your child. Always talk to your child.
Yeah, they always try to get a step ahead of us parents.
Hmm.
They do,
Yeah.
they do. Now, you come from this successful co-parenting family. How did you
Hmm.
guys handle holidays, birthdays, graduations? Like, how did you do that?
So I never had two birthdays. I've never had two holidays because I had, a dad's side and a mom's side. Those were considered two holidays. But when it came to just me and my parents, my dad was always at my mom's house for Christmas. Even sometimes I would spend the night at my dad's house on Christmas Eve, and then he would take me to my mom's house and watch me open all my gifts. For birthdays, never two birthdays, always just one birthday, and both sides of my family, which is always come. And my dad and my mom always planned together. So anything that was happening for graduation, things like that, they never said separate. Everybody was in one section. You knew that was my family. And actually, what's so funny is that when I graduated college, people would come up to me and was like, "Your family was the loudest." They were the loudest. And
Yes,
it wasn't like it was
I
somebody
can
coming
see
from
that.
this side and that side. Yes, they were the
The
loudest. They are
support. Yeah,
definitely supportive.
love that.
But it wasn't like it was echoes from this side and that side. It was just all on one side. And you
Fantastic.
saw everybody stand up. So I never just had that experience of, oh, well, we're gonna have her birthday this weekend and y'all can have her birthday the next weekend. Everybody just came together.
Right. And you know what? Like, again, I'm going to just tell you, you are blessed because I know people right now, he ain't coming to my house. I don't care.
Yes.
That ain't that. You know, and they do have two holidays, two birthdays, and et
Mhm.
cetera. Um, eh, are there some ground rules, something they can do, maybe I guess, make it easier for the kid because that's kind of rough, especially if the kid hears that he can't come in my house. And I've seen people say that where to the kid, don't let him in my house, you know.
Mhm.
So now what?
That's a hard
I
one. I
know
think
because
about it. I think about it. I think that when it comes to like birthdays, because a child wants both of their parents there, so something that you can kind of like twist it to not make it seem as a child is having two birthdays because of their parents, but having two birthdays because you want to celebrate their birthdays. Just have both parents there. The dad because don't have it at your house if you feel like you don't want him to come to your house. Have it in a public space.
love that.
Even for
Mhm.
holidays, just have it in a public space. That way you don't feel like, oh, I don't want him coming in my house or I don't want her over here. Having an open area. So when it comes to like birthdays, I say have both parents there. And then when it's time for the next birthday, have the mom at that birthday. Just so that the child doesn't pick up on it all the time that oh, I'm only having two birthdays because because my parents, can't get along. When they go back to school, like, yeah, I had two birthdays. My parents threw me two birthdays. So I always think of it like that. And then when it comes to holidays, it might not sound traditional, but if you want to make things work for your child, having an open area, have an open space to the public, that way nobody feels as someone is invading their privacy.
No, that's good. That is good. Let's talk about, did you ever have any bonus brothers or sisters, blended families?
Actually did not.
No,
My
you
stepmom
didn't.
has no children, so I was like, her child, which I still am. I take very, very hold of that title. So no, I never like ran into that. I will say though, um, I have half brothers and half sisters.
Hmm.
So on my dad's side, I had my brother who is now deceased, by liver cancer, but
I'm
he
sorry.
actually when he was getting sick, his side of the family, his mother's side of the family, didn't even know I existed. So that was a big eye opener to me.
Mm.
But also with them not knowing I existed, they took me in once my brother passed away. And so now like his brothers, he grew up with five other brothers. So now I've gained those brothers. So not it didn't come from my bonus mom today, but it did come from one of the mothers that my dad had another child with. You know what I'm saying? So I will say I rent. That's what I come in contact with you. If you call them my bonus brothers as well. They call me they call me their sister as well. So I did run into that, and it's definitely different when you have siblings when you don't share the same mother or father. On my mom's side, I have two other siblings. We all have the same. We all have different fathers. So that was something that was very weird to me at first, but I'm very close with their father side as well because they always took me in. So I never ran into anything to where, we would go separate ways, but the other siblings couldn't come.
Oh, that's a large extended family, by the way.
It
That's
is.
huge.
It
Oh
is.
my.
I've claimed so many people as siblings.
Let's go back. I want to go back a little more with the blended family situation because a lot of times what will happen when a mom or dad brings in a partner, the partner will have children. And how
Mhm.
do they introduce them? How do they bring them in without making the child feel like they're being replaced?
Yeah, that's a big step as well. It's just like as bringing in, another mom or another dad. I feel like you have to slide that in as well. Create play dates, try to make it seem like as they're friends at first, until you gradually come up to like, hey guys, you all might become siblings and explain to them what that looks like. How do I have a brother, but he didn't come from my mom's tummy, things
Yeah.
of that nature. So explain to them what does that look like? How are they siblings now? And what do friends turn into siblings look like? What would be different now? You guys might live together now, things of that. So I just think that if you explain to a child like, hey, this is what life will look like now. Life might be different. We have other people to account for in the household. Just explain to them to where they understand and where they're getting it and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So this is my brother now, this is my sister now. So I just think it's very, very important to explain to those children instead of just throwing on them like, oh yeah, this is your brother so and so. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know him. I don't know him. So I just think it's just very, very important to explain to the child, hey, I mean, like, this is what we're going to do. This is so and so. Um, and let them have that privacy time to trust each other as well. Because as children, you really like you never been their friend or anything like that. So just always like have that privacy time where they can play together, ask each other questions. That way they feel safe with each other as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, a lot of times in these relationships, the mom or the dad might not have equal, I guess, financial means or budgets.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, children will say, well, dad did this and I can do that. And it can make the other parent feel bad, or they might prefer to be with one parent over the other because of that. They can do more things. How do parents manage that within themselves? And then also talk to the kids about it.
I
Because it can be
actually
hurtful.
did grow up in that type of situation.
Okay.
Um, my mom was the one who was like more financially stable than my father.
Hmm.
Um, it was about when I was around like 16 that I finally was able to live with my dad without staying with nobody else. Like he had his own place, you know? And so my mom will always, anything that my mom did, she will always say my daddy helped her with presents. Even if my mom bought the presents herself, she would say on the birthday card, love mom and dad. So she never left him out, but I could tell that, there was a different financial stability when it came to both of them. Things that I could ask my mom for, I knew that my dad probably didn't have the money to give me there, give me what I wanted, but he always got me what I need. And my mom always made sure that she enforced that into me, let me know, like, hey, your dad might not be able to get you this, but he make sure you eat. He makes sure you have clothes on your back. He makes sure you have shoes on your feet. You still have a roof over your head. You're still laying somewhere that you're comfortable. So my mom just always, tried to let me know, like, hey, he might not have this, but he's there for you. He's physically there. He's showing up everywhere. More children will actually want their parents to show up rather than them just buying stuff or sending money every month. So when I started looking at it that way, like I was very grateful for what he have done. And so my mom probably had the money, but my daddy definitely had like the support, as you can see in the comments.
Hmm.
He definitely had the support. He was definitely always there. And sometimes people didn't even realize that he didn't have the money because he was always showing up, showing up. And I knew that even in hard times, my daddy would sacrifice things just to make sure that he was there for me.
Fantastic, right? We show up and we show out. That's the other part.
Yes.
It's our babies. We show out. No, Wendy said in a comment, I'm gonna put her comment up here because you have your whole family here, that you are super wise. And I agree with you, Wendy. She is super wise, because the answers are on point, and I think they're going to help a lot of parents who are listening to this. Let's talk about green flags. What are the green flags that a child is thriving in these relationships?
Mm, One, I would say coming like, hey, mom, I did this today. Hey, dad, I did this, like initiating conversations.
Mhm.
You can tell that your child, is happy in life. Another green flag would just be the energy that they're carrying on themselves. You can tell when a child is sad. You can tell when a child is happy. Asking questions when children are very questionable and they want to know, and you're giving them answers without being like, "Why are you asking all these questions? Like, where are these questions coming from?" Instead of knocking them down and giving them answers, that's another green flag. When children go to school and be like, yeah, my dad and my mom told me this, this is what I learned from home. I feel like that's another green flag. So I just honestly say, just always, when a child is very questionable, when a child, questionable in good ways, when I say that, and then just always initiating conversations. You don't have to force a conversation out of a child. They're ready to talk to you. They're ready to come to you about things. They feel like that you are their safe space. That's when okay, I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and let me just, keep going and keep improving.
Now, and what are the red flags that mean we need to pivot immediately?
When your child is not talking at
Not talking at all.
all, you're trying to force some words out of them, and all you get like, "Oh, how was your day? It was good."
Mm.
Like, was it really good, or are you just trying to cut it short because you don't feel like you can open up to me?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's like one of the biggest red flags, or just like body language. Body language is another red flag. If it's off, if they're just walking around, just shoulders limp, things like that, that's another red flag. And sometimes parents don't know how to initiate that conversation to figure out what's wrong. Um, but just go for it. You never know what the child might just be ready to open up and might be ready for someone to ask that question, like, hey, what is going on? Like, what is wrong? I'm here for you. Always let them know that you're here for them. And that you're wanting to show up in them in different ways, like, hey, what can I do? Because sometimes parents think they're doing everything right. And that old saying that we have as parents is that, you have a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back. Like, what else can you not be happy about? And it's just things that you might not know that is internal that the child is dealing with, that just lets them know that you're showing up for them. Okay. Like, let them know that you're here to support them, and that they can come to you about anything without being judgmental.
Good. Tell us about your book. Why did you write it, first of all?
I wrote this book actually. My dad, he convinced me. He had just finished writing his book, and he was like, I think that you should write a book on co-parenting. My dad, he likes to throw out a lot of ideas, and so I was like, okay, I hear you. I hear you, but I'm really not into it at first. And then his publisher had emailed me and was like, hey, can we get on a chat? We chatted, and then we created a schedule on like the days that I was gonna write, and we was gonna get on Zoom because I was in college at the time. And she was in Texas, and we was gonna get on a Zoom and go over my chapters, things like that. So then I was like, oh, this is serious. This is serious. So once I actually started getting into the groove of things, and once I started realizing, like, it became therapy for me. Like, I've been going to therapy since I was around 16 years old, and I'm still going to therapy. But even just noticing some things that, like, ooh, I didn't even know, like, it brought out some things that I didn't even realize I was dealing with internally. And so I think that was just one of the good things about me writing this book, was just realizing, like, hey, you didn't deal with a lot of things. You didn't face your emotions when things happened.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that was really the start of my book.
Okay. And tell them the title of the book.
The book is called Two Homes, One Heart: A
You
Guide to
have it?
Co-parenting from a Child's Perspective.
Do you have it there? I saw you look down.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, show it. Show the people. Hold on, you froze. So hold it there. Hold it again. Hold it up because
Oh,
it froze for a second so they can get a good look at it. There you go. And then two homes, one heart. And where is it available? Let them know where they can get it.
you can actually get it from my website, www.oneheartcoparenting.com, or you can also go on Amazon and type in the title, and it will be there as well.
Okay. Tell them your website one more time.
www.oneheartcoparenting.com.
Okay. All right. And how else can they follow your journey? Are you on any social media? How can they
Yes, I
keep
am
up?
on Facebook. Facebook name is Kylar, Kylar Williams. And I am also on Instagram. Instagram is Kylar Denae. Follow me because I am creating content today as well about my book. I do want to get it out there more, and I am about to start a TikTok for my book. So once that comes
Good.
up and comes ready, we'll be on the road.
Oh, that's going to be fire. That's going when you.
Also, I have a podcast coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's called Let Danae Speak.
Hmm.
Um, and I just want to, put myself out there, but also talk about co-parenting as well. I think it's a very, very topic that needs to be had, especially in the Black community.
So we definitely need to follow you to make sure we keep up with that. And for the parents who are listening to this particular episode, if you're interested in learning more from her, you definitely want to subscribe to her podcast when it launches. Any
Yes.
workshops coming out or anything like that you're going to be
I
doing?
don't have any workshops yet, but it definitely is upcoming.
All right. Yeah, you got this. This is a whole empire for you. I see it being very fruitful. So, Kyler, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem. Stay tuned. And a big shout out to all of you watching the replay of this episode, especially Kyler's family for joining in because that was a pleasure. I welcome you to the show. So thank you again. Be sure everybody follows us on social media. Share it with your friends. Click on everything, the follows, the likes, the ads, all of that helps us to thrive too. And until next time, I wish you all the best and much success. Take care. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.